said you don't take a position in these articles?
I said I tried not to take a position in most of my articles.
Well, you didn't succeed.
Judge?
Oh, I see. That makes a difference. Did you mean it when you wrote it?
When I wrote it?
Did you mean it?
I meant it when I wrote it because...
Okay, but you don't mean it now?
I do not mean it now.
So if you take off your advocate hat today, do you have your advocate hat on today?
I am no longer an advocate. I'm a sitting magistrate judge.
So so you don't tell the truth when you're an advocate, but you do when you're not? Is it okay to lie if you're an advocate?
I don't follow the question.
I think it's pretty clear, and I think you follow it. You've taken a lot of radical positions, Judge. And you
Senator
can't make
John Kennedy didn't speculate. He didn't accuse. He brought receipts. During the confirmation hearing, Kennedy laid out the nominee's own words, line by line, then delivered the moment no activist talking point escaped. You've taken a lot of radical positions. The silence that followed said everything. Before we continue, please subscribe to DC Breakdown.
Thank you.
Senator Kennedy.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Judge, congratulations. Judge Cheeks, I see you're quite a prolific writer, and you say I heard you answer Senator Durbin's question, you said you don't take a position in these articles?
I said I tried not to take a position in most of my articles.
Well, you didn't succeed. In October 2020, you published an article entitled, "I Can't Breathe." You remember that article?
I do remember that article.
Okay. You were talking about Mr. George Floyd's tragic death. Here's what you said, quote, your words, not mine, quote, "What happened next after Mr. Floyd's death is nothing short of amazing. Mostly peaceful protest broke out almost immediately in Minneapolis, and the use of excessive force by police officers became the villain in a sea of protesters," end quote. Did I read that accurately?
That sounds correct, yes, Senator.
All right, and then in October of 2019, you wrote an article entitled "Raising Responsibility: A Concerned Parent's Perspective." You remember that?
I do remember that, yes.
Did you take a position in that article?
I recall my position being talking about how am I going to address issues with my children.
So you did take positions, unlike what you told Senator Durbin.
What I told Senator Durbin that I try not to take positions.
Okay. Well, I want to read you from your article. Quote, your words, not mine. "Needless to say, I have a guarded opinion about the police. How do I teach my sons to respect them and fear them at the same time? There can be no question that police officers have some of these same internal or external biases." Let me repeat that. There can be no question that police officers, not some, all police officers have some of these same internal or external biases described above. Do some of them view black males differently than others? I think so. Sounds like a position to me. Do some think black males are more dangerous than others? I think so. Did I read that correctly?
Yes, you read that correctly.
All right, now, and then in May of 2019, you remember writing an article for a publication, the title of the article, the title of your article in which you say you didn't take a position was called "The Federal Dungeon Part 2, Court Proceedings." You remember that?
I do.
Okay. And you were talking about, it was then under President Trump, not President Biden. The Department of Justice then had a zero tolerance for illegal entry into the United States, because that, of course, is the law. And this is what you said about that. Quote, Technically, the law was broken, but these particular defendants, poor, hungry, hardworking, and not dangerous, deserve a pass from prosecution. End quote. Saying that illegal immigration should not be criminalized is a position, is it not?
It is. What I'd like to add is that everything that I wrote while I was an advocate, not a sitting judge.
Oh, I see. That makes a difference. Did you mean it when you wrote it?
When I wrote it,
did you mean it?
I meant it when I wrote it because.
Okay, but you don't mean it now?
I do not mean it now.
So if you take off your advocate hat today, do you have your advocate hat on today?
I am no longer an advocate. I'm a sitting magistrate judge.
So so you don't tell the truth when you're an advocate, but you do when you're not? Is it okay to lie if you're an advocate?
I don't follow the question.
I think it's pretty clear, and I think you follow it. You've taken a lot of radical positions, Judge, and you can't make this catwalk backwards. Now, you can't make this catwalk backwards. I have one question for our second judge here. Judge, you remember a couple years ago going on a broadcast called Visible Voices Podcast? All right, here's what you said. It was just a couple years ago. Mm-hmm. So we're not talking way back in law school or anything. We're talking about a couple years. You'd been on the bench how long? 8 years then?
I've been on the bench almost 10.
Yeah, well, but when you said this in front of God and country, you'd been on the bench 8. You said it in January 31, 2022. Here's what you said, quote, "I think that COVID has brought a lot of these issues to bear, especially in the legal profession, where I tell a lot of people all the time, we, the people, never included people of color or women. When you have an institution that is set up by property-owning white men for 200 years or so, it wasn't geared towards thinking about what would be the best work schedule or how we could really incorporate
Senator
women
John
with
Kennedy
children
walked into this confirmation hearing prepared, and it showed. While most hearings are filled with vague questions and rehearsed answers, Kennedy did something different. He brought receipts, quotes, public statements, documented positions taken by the nominee over time, and then he laid them out one by one. Kennedy calmly confronted the nominee with their own words, pointing out positions that go far beyond mainstream America. On issue after issue, he highlighted views that most Americans would consider radical, especially when it comes to government power, individual rights, and the role of federal authority. The key moment came when Kennedy summarized what everyone watching was already thinking. You've taken a lot of radical positions. There was no shouting, no theatrics, just facts. This wasn't a personal attack. It was a test of honesty and accountability. If someone is seeking a powerful federal role, the American people deserve to know exactly where they stand and whether they're trying to walk those positions back now that confirmation is on the line. What made this exchange so powerful was how difficult it was to dodge. You can't argue with your own record. You can't rewrite statements that are already on paper. This is why Republicans like John Kennedy resonate with voters. He asks the questions many Americans are already asking at home. He doesn't let nominees hide behind carefully crafted non-answers. Confirmation hearings matter because these positions shape policy for decades. They affect families, businesses, and constitutional rights. And when nominees take extreme positions, that should be exposed before they're handed power. Kennedy's questioning wasn't about scoring political points. It was about transparency, about making sure radical ideas aren't quietly slipped into positions of authority without scrutiny. Moments like this remind Washington who works for whom. If nominees want lifetime influence, they should expect lifetime accountability. If you believe confirmation hearings should be serious, honest, and grounded in facts, not spin, make sure you subscribe to DC Breakdown. God bless America.